Hi and welcome back to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. This is Marla with Mad About Cards and Crafts, and today I am featuring this mini slimline using Gina K Designs Masters Layout 7. I'm going to show you how quick and easy cards are to build with this die set. Here's how it comes packaged. There are 7 pieces, 2 mini slimline dies, 1 solid, 1 with stitching. There's also a label die, and then there are 2 rectangle dies that layer with each other. One is solid, the other has stitching, and 2 circle dies, 1 solid, 1 with stitching. Building cards is quick and easy using this die set. It is perfect for a new card maker, or maybe somebody who isn't very proficient at layering different papers. There are a ton of ways that this could be put together. I am just going to show you one in the landscape mode, and then I'm going to show you a quick photo of the second card that I did make using this die set. I'm using all 7 pieces on my card today. I'm also going to be using the Perfectly Plaid Fall, which is a discontinued paper pad, but there is Perfectly Plaid Remix that is available in the ScrapbookPal store that would work just as well with this card. I am layering up the pieces that I have already cut. As I said, I'm using a solid piece for my base layer, and then for the layer that goes on top that has the stitching, I did use the Perfectly Plaid. The finished card is going to be 3 by 6 if I were to glue it onto a card panel like this. Instead, I chose to make my card panel a top folding mini slimline that's going to be 3 1/8 by 6 1/8 because I did want a little bit of a white border. And just like this is how easy these layering pieces come together. You could put this that I'm putting together in the center of my card. I am going to end up gluing it to left of center because I'm going to do a little bit of scene building with the Fawn Crazy Antics stamp set. I did color and cut all of my pieces off camera to make this a very quick video, as I am trying to focus on the Gina K Designs layering stamp master. I think it's Master Layouts 7. There are several different designs, many that are A2. She does have a slimline version, a full slimline version, and she also has a scene building version. So I was getting ready to glue that down when I realized that I wanted to add a hillside to this card. So I took my slimline die from Fawn, and I cut just a little piece of scrap cardstock. I didn't need it to be very long. I knew that I was going to be putting those layering pieces over the top of it, so I just cut a smaller piece, cut it in half, and then I have that open space which is going to be covered right here. So once I glue this down, I am going to show the other elements that I used. I used the Oliver's Stitched alphabet die to cut out the word Antics, and I'm going to kind of lay out my scene so that I know where everything is going to go. These clouds are some random clouds from my stash. I don't even know which die set that they came from. I had them sitting out, and so I went ahead and thought that they would kind of break up that plaid in the background. Here's where I have cut out the word Antics using that Oliver Stitched. I'm going to put my letters in order so that I don't misspell the word Antics, and I'm going to stagger these. So I'm going to put the word ant on the top, towards the top, and then underneath it I will add the ICS so it will say Antics. Now I did use a sentiment die from my stash, and I cut out a teal and an orange. So the orange cardstock that has the word Antics is actually just some inexpensive scrap paper that I had in my stash. I thought the orange went really well with the plaid paper and the fall theme that I was going for. But when I went to stamp on it, you can see those 2 pieces right there, it ended up smearing because there's kind of like there must be like a wax coating or some kind of coating on top. When I used my VersaFine Black Onyx ink to stamp it out, it stamped fine and I dried it with my heat tool, but when I was putting the rest of my card together, I touched it and it smeared. And I tried it again on another piece of orange paper that was the same cardstock, and it did the same thing. So I went ahead, and at the very end you're going to see that I do switch up the sentiment to the teal, which was the base layer for all of my layering. Here I'm just trying to figure out where I want things, or approximately. Now I am going to end up switching up the watermelon piece and the ant. I just didn't, it felt like it was a little bit too squished. I'm going to move the sandwich and the ants over just a little bit more, but basically this is going to be my layout. I wasn't sure whether I wanted the sentiment on the top or the bottom, but I decided that I did want it on the top, and I stamped out from the Crazy Antics stamp set the sentiment that says, "I love your crazy," and then of course we have the word Antics. And I love this card for fall. I think that it's just absolutely adorable. I have had this Crazy Antics stamp set in my collection for quite some time, and I had yet to use it. I also am going to create a second card. I'm just going to be using the Slimline layers and the rectangle layers to create a second card. I'm not using the circles or the labels, so I end up coloring all of my pieces, so from both the Crazy Antics, and I'm also going to use the Scootin by stamp set for my second card. I do color them using my Copic markers, and then I ended up on the second card heat embossing in gold the sentiment that says Scootin by to say. I don't stamp the inside of my cards because I do leave them to personalize them for the occasion that I need them for, and so I didn't feel the need to stamp either of these cards on the inside. I'm going to finish gluing all of my pieces together, and then I will show you a photograph of both of the cards so that you can kind of get an idea of what the second card looked like with the layering pieces and in a vertical formation. So as I said, this is horizontal, and then my second card is going to be vertical. They're both the same dimension, so about 3 1/8 by 6 1/8. I did take and layer up the rectangles on card number 2. I cut 2 out of pattern paper and 1 out of craft. So craft is going to be replace the teal that I had in this card as my base layer, and then I did add some enamel dots to that. I'll show you a close-up of my card, and that's it for me today. I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Until next time, have a fabulous day.